Not only were they hand-formed, hand-bucked, beautiful cars, but they weren't very straight either. If we were to deliver this car in the way that it originally come to us, or the way it originally left the factory, it would have been very wavy. There would have been a panel on it that would have been all that great, but it would have had its elegance too. It was a hand-formed car, and we have to keep that in mind. But by today's standards, we can't do that. Nowadays, people expect very straight. They expect very smooth lines. They expect things to be above a handmade process. So it's a delicate line you have to walk. You can't over-beautify it, but at the same time, you can't create exactly what was there. It's got to be above that. Anyway, this Zagato's been here a very long time. I don't mean weeks, I don't mean months, but I do mean years. And I mean years. It's been here a very long time. So it's nice to see that we're turning the corner and we're getting closer and closer with this. This deep luster blue that was a Zagato color is the color that we obviously ended up going with. And this car may look like it's just about right to you, but we are still going to do a few other things. We're going to wet sand this car. We're going to apply one more coat of color over the top of this color, just for extra depth. Then we're going to put clear over it. If we were to replicate this the way it was from the factory, we would not dare to put color, or excuse me, we would not dare put clear over this. But again, the standards have changed, the expectations have changed. People want more. Regardless of how it's supposed to be, they want more. Back to flat sand, this body a little bit more. One more layer of color on it. Then a couple coats of clear. We'll sand that and polish it out from there. Essentially, we are going to raise the standard of what should be here. This beautiful cobalt blue, factory color, with the red interior that we're processing, making it with, it's going to be such a gorgeous car. We're really happy this car's gotten to this point. It has taken an awful lot, not just in a monetary sense, but it's taken an awful lot of resources to get to this point. It has been intense labor to be there, but nonetheless, we are there. It's looking so nice.
What we got here is we got a 1958 Flaminia Zagato seats that were made, the frames were made, but they didn't come with any frame or any springs, foam, burlap, or anything. So we started pretty much from a raw tube framing that was made, that was bought, sent to us, and then what we did is we had to install springs so that way you have some kind of cushion going back and forth so you're not falling through it. So I installed these springs here. These are called no-sag springs. They have a slight arc to them so that way it keeps the contour of the shape of the seats. And what you do is you want to apply some burlap over that so that way the springs do not pop through the foam that I'm going to explain to you right here. So what you want to first do is after you get the burlap on there, you get this chipboard, which is real easy to make a template to fit your seat frame. Right here, this is the bottom of the seat frame there. And anyways, you make a template that has all the contours and stuff, and then you'll transfer it to a piece of foam, high density foam that's probably approximately about 4 inches thick. This can vary for whatever kind of application you want. You can have this thinner, taller, whatever you're kind of looking for on the seat. But we use a high density foam because this seat is pretty low profile and we don't want a lot of sag in there. So we use a high density foam for the cushion on the bottom, and then we'll use a medium density foam on the cushion in the back, so that way you kind of sink into it a little bit. But anyways, what you do is you get a block of foam that looks something like this, and you'll transfer your template onto it, and then you'll cut it out. And this will kind of what it looks like after it's cut out. Right there. So we got the bottom of the foam seat cushion here, and you can use any kind of thing to cut it out. They have foam cutters that are they're pretty expensive, and so another way of doing it is just using a standard carving knife that you can get at Walmart, Target, wherever. These are usually about 15-20 bucks. The foam saws can range from anywhere from 150 to 500 bucks. So this is kind of a cheaper, nicer way to do it for people at home. So after you cut it out, you just want to double check, make sure everything fits in the cushion. And it looks like it's going to be just fine. Kind of get an idea, all the contours right here. So then the next step is you want to, what kind of cushion contours you want. And what kind of shape are you looking for in your cushion here? Right here on the bottom, this started out the same process as this, just a block of foam that I carved out, cut to fit the bottom of it here. And then you shape it with either some sandpaper, or if you got a grinding tool, anything that will shape it. And you get these nice slight kind of contours to it. And you can see there's a little recess right in here. This is where you're going to be sitting here. And this is going to have a nice little round taper shape to it, as the original seats are usually like that. There's really not too much shape to these seats, but you can do any kind of style you want. You can get really radical and have some bigger bolsters on the side or up front. It's pretty much, you can shape this foam any way you like, so it's pretty much up to you. But we're going to kind of keep this Flaminia as stock as possible, so we're going to keep it nice and simple and keep it more original looking. This is kind of what it looks like before you get those contours. As you can see, this is recessed about an inch below, and then what I'll do is I'll just come here with the 80 grit or 36 grit sandpaper and just slowly just contour and get these nice radiuses to it and make everything kind of nice and smooth. You can see how rough it is at first with that foam saw, but it's okay if it is like that. Like you said, you got to shape it, so it doesn't matter how rough it looks right here. And this is kind of like a finished product of what it looks like after it's all shaped. You can kind of get an idea here. I'll put that on top and you can kind of see the difference between the roughness. You know, and obviously you can see my marks here. I just kind of made the pattern, centered things out to make sure everything looks uniform from top to bottom to when we put the leather seat on there, the leather cushion. All right, what we got here is the bottom seat cushion of the Lancia Zagato. We previously did this all in foam, and it kind of looked like something like this. And then what we did here is make our markings and stuff and what kind of pattern we're looking for the seat. And this is it right here, what we came up with. We use this cream welt cord around the border here just to tie it in with the interior, the rest of the interior with the door panels and the back rear seat panels that we have, where we have this cream border. But we stuck with a red welt cord in here because we think it would look funny if we have this cream going down each side and around here. We kind of break it up too much. So we stuck with the traditional kind of red leather welt here and the cream border to kind of tie everything else together. Now what I'm doing here is, after I fit everything around on this seat and hog ring it, I got these listers that I sewed in there that are attached to these welts. And what it does is, when you pull these strings, it kind of sucks this welt in here, and it's going to give it a little bit more definition and depth to this seat cushion. As you can kind of, hopefully you can kind of see in that camera view how it's kind of sinking in a little bit, have that little contour, so that way it keeps that contour, keeps that depth, and it keeps that dimension to the seat, so that way it looks a little bit more nicer, and it ties everything together.
Okay, so you're seeing Jacob starting to carve the seats of this 59 Zagato. And we're starting to turn the corner on this. We're starting to do what we call the cut-in work, which is where you see this blue that's around everything. This is a color this car would originally came in, and it is an absolute fantastic color. It's more of a cobalt. Anyway, the owner of this car elected to go with some traditional rich reds. Now, everything in this car that's red is leather, and there is a lot of it. It's one of those things that when you buy something to be made out of leather, you better buy all of it at once and not go back and try to buy more of it, because, quite frankly, leather tends to have shifts in color as the tanning process happens, or the dyeing process. Anyway, so we had to buy an awful lot of leather for this car, because not only is it on the doors and on the seats and the back, it's in the partial shells, it's everywhere in this car. But I have to admit, the red with the tan and the detailed trims of these early Zagatos, they're really something special. We're starting to really enjoy how this thing is becoming more and more of a real classic Italian car. Okay, so I'm bolting the rear brakes onto the differential of this Flaminia Zagato that we're working on. You saw Jacob do the upholstery work, and now we're moving on to hanging some parts inside the car. The engine, as you saw, is already in. The bottom of the car is absolutely immaculate. And now we're just doing the accessories that are absolutely essential. The sad thing about this car is it's going to be sold on. So it goes in the world of cars. Anyhow, some of this work you have to do before you put the stuff in because there's really no opportunity to put it in any other way. In this particular case, I'm bolting on the rear disc brakes. Now you think about this for a minute. This is a 1959 Flaminia Zagato, aluminum V6 with four-wheel disc brakes. 1959, that's some pretty advanced technology. And the differentials in the rear. So you have inboard brakes, 1959 rear end of an Italian sports car. It doesn't get much funner than that.